Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, my name is Alisha and today I'm going to show you how to make this cherry pie cake. It looks like a cherry pie with ice cream on top, but it's not. It is cake. And I am doing this because there is a Stand Up to Cancer charity bake-off at work tomorrow and it's landed on April Fool's Day, so that's why I wanted to do an illusion cake. So if you want to see how I made this, keep watching. So the first thing you want to do is preheat your oven to 160 degrees Celsius, and I'm going to use the all-in-one method because I am making this for a work bake-off and it is currently 5:30, just gone, and I need to get it complete tonight. So I need to be quick. So I'm putting my butter, sugar, eggs, flour and baking powder all in at the same time, and I'm going to pop that on the mixer for a good minute or so and get nice and pale and fluffy. Just like so, and then I'm just going to make sure I've got everything off the sides and the bottom. Then I'm going to add in my milk and vanilla. Pop it on the mix. Oh no, I dropped a big bit. I did take it off the paddle, but clearly not very well. And pop it on the mixer for another 30 seconds on a medium to high speed. And that is your batter complete. So again, just make sure you've got everything off the paddle and off the sides and the bottom. So this is a vanilla sponge, but I'm going to add cherries to it because obviously it's a cherry pie. Now, when you add fruit into any cake, there's always a risk of it sinking. So these are glacier cherries. I have rinsed all the syrup off, coated them in flour. I'm going to put about half in the batter, and then, if I can get them out, the rest of them. Excuse the motorcycles, how rude. I'm just going to fold these in very gently. And then the rest of them I'm going to pop on the top, so if they do sink, hopefully they don't go all the way to the bottom of the tin. Now I've got two 8-inch tins here which I've greased and lined the bottom, and I'm going to split my mixture between them. And with my spatula or a palette knife, just work it towards the edges. Then with my rest of my cherries, I'm just going to pop them around. Then we can bake them at 160 degrees for about 25 minutes. You can check they're done by sticking a skewer in and it will come out clean. So the next thing I'm going to do is make some cherry jam. It's not strictly cherry jam, I'm not heating it to a certain temperature or anything like that. It would be a cherry goo, as Cupcake Gemma would call it. And I'm doing it in two separate pans. This one is going to be the actual jam, and I'm going to mix this with buttercream. And this one, I just want to break down ever so slightly, and I'm going to use that on the top, just beneath the pastry, on top. So hopefully they'll hold their shape a little bit. In fact, I might change some of the smaller ones out for some of the bigger ones in here. That should do the trick, I reckon. And then I've got a little bit of caster sugar in each one. I've got cherry juice all over me. I'm going to put a little bit of lemon juice in there as well. Just a squeeze of lemon juice. You don't want to get the pips in. Did I just get a pip in there? I did. There we go, and then I'm going to bring you over to the hob and we're going to start making our cherry jammy goo texture mixture. Okay, so I've got them both on the low to medium heat. These are frozen strawberries, hence all of the steam coming off them. When they start to soften, I am going to break these down a little bit, but I'm not going to break these down. So as you can see, I've broken these cherries down just by using the back of my spoon, and these ones I'm keeping as whole as possible. They are going to break down a little bit, but I'm not forcibly breaking them down. And then you just let them come to temperature really. Obviously there's loads more juice in this, and the juice will start bubbling away and it'll start getting thicker and turn to a jammy consistency. There we go, and when it turns into a thick jam-like consistency, I'm going to take it off the heat and pop it in a separate bowl. And I'm actually happy to leave these a bit more liquidy because I don't want it to break down as much. So I think I am going to leave it there. The cakes are out of the oven, so I'm going to leave them to cool in their tins for about 10 minutes before turning them onto a cooling rack, and then we can make our buttercream. Now on to buttercream. So I have got some unsalted butter in here. I'm going to whip it up for a good 5 to 10 minutes on a stand mixer. I would usually do it with an electric hand mixer just because there's a small amount, but I broke it. So it will be 5 to 10 minutes on a medium to high speed until it is pale and silky. So as you can see, the butter has got a lot paler and it's nice and silky. So I'm going to add in half of the icing sugar. I'm just going to mix it together gently with the butter, just to try and reduce some of the icing sugar smoke in my kitchen. And then pop this on a medium speed for about 3 minutes, but start it off really slow. Should look something like this. Then add in your second half and repeat the process. And that is your buttercream complete. So it will be a little bit stiff at the moment. I am going to add in the cherry jam first, and if it's still stiff then I will add in some milk at that point. So I'm just going to get the rest off my paddle and then we can add the cherry jam. So I'm going to split this mixture into 1/3 and 2/3. 1/3 of it I'm going to use between the layers. So I've got my jam here. I'm just going to add a spoonful in. And give it a good mix together. And then I actually wanted to save a scoopful of this. I'm just going to get an ice cream scoop and scoop. And I want to do it as though there's a blob of ice cream on top. That's why I'm using some buttercream, because obviously ice cream will melt. So for this buttercream, I'm going to use it to ice the cake around the outside. I've not added cherries into it because obviously I want it to be nice and smooth, but I am going to add some of the juice from the cherries to give it some colour. So again, just give that a mix. There we go. I'm going to add a touch of milk because it's a little bit stiff. About 3/4 tablespoon. Give that a mix together. So that's the buttercream's done. I'm going to leave them to one side. Our cakes are still quite warm, so I can't do anything on that front. So I think I'm going to start colouring my fondant next, which is the hardest bit, believe it or not. So I'm going to clear all of this and then we can start working on that. Right, I've got some fondant here, and the first thing I'm going to do is give it a little knead. How have I got blue on me? I mean, I know I've got the food colouring out, but I've literally just washed my hands. I will be back in a second. Right, let's try again. Yeah, so I am just going to work this together until it becomes softer. I want this to be like I want it to basically be a cooked pastry colour, so kind of like a golden brown. How I achieve that I don't know, because I don't have brown. So red, yellow and blue creates brown. So I might try that, but also I've got, for example, this paprika colour, so I'm thinking if I put a tiny bit of that in, maybe with some ivory and some black, that might make a golden brown. I think I'm going to try it on a little bit first. So let's just get 2 bits off. Oh my gosh, food colouring gets everywhere. Right, let's try the red, yellow and blue method first. I don't know, I just don't think it's gonna get to the colour I want. I am gonna go over it with a bit of food colouring and vodka to give it a bit more depth. But I don't know, is that, I kind of want to be like this but a tiny bit darker. I mean, it is brown, isn't it? So let's try the other one. Add a bit more black. The problem with adding black is that it doesn't just darken it, it can make it very grey. This is using red, yellow and blue. This is using paprika, yellow and black, and this is mixing them both together. I'm kind of tempted to go for the middle. Let's get a cherry pie up. Definitely not that one. I actually think it's kind of this one, you know. The other thing with this is that obviously it's got sugar on, which is caramelised in the oven, and I'm going to add sugar on mine and blowtorch it. I say blowtorch, I haven't got a blowtorch, so it's going to be with a little lighter. A candle lighter, not a cigarette lighter, because I don't smoke. So it will create that caramelised colour, but I need to think about the outside of it. I think I'm going to go for this middle one. Let's just mix these both together and just make sure I'm definitely thinking the right thing. Thing is, you're never going to get exactly the right colour, because one is pastry and one is fondant. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that. Let's go for it. There we go, pretty happy with that colour actually. It's not quite as dark as this, but I think it's a bad colour. Let's have a check. Yeah, I think that's okay. Once we paint it and give it a bit more depth, I think that's a good colour. It looks a bit orange on camera, but it's not that orange in real life. It looks very orange. It's not orange. Okay. The cakes are cool now, and as you can see, all the cherries pretty much sank. I tried all of my methods, but nothing works unfortunately, but it's okay because these are quite, well, they've risen quite well, which, you know, I'm alright about. But for this, a cherry pie isn't this big. A cherry pie is about this big, so I'm just gonna flip it over and cut a little bit off the top. Should do this with a serrated knife, but the serrated knife has gone walkies. And then we can start icing and shaping it. So got a cake here. I'm gonna get my buttercream that has the cherry jam in. And and spread this out. I'm not doing it all the way to the edge because I'm going to be cutting some of this up. Second layer. Which way shall I do it? Let's do it this way. Press that on top. Put all them cherries in there. See, I think that's about the right height for a cherry pie. And I'm gonna get a smaller knife, and obviously a cherry pie kind of goes in a little bit, so I'm just gonna taper it in ever so slightly. I still want it to be stable, so I'm not going too far in. Oh, got a cherry there. It doesn't have to be perfect because you can do this a little bit with the buttercream. I keep hitting cherries. So I'm going to the buttercream, my smooth buttercream, which has just got a bit of the cherry colouring in. And work it back and forth. Right, then I'm gonna pop, oh, I really hope this works. Then I'm gonna pop this in the fridge for, I mean, I could do with putting it in for an hour, but I don't really have an hour because it's now 20 to 8. What to do? I'm gonna try and squeeze it in the freezer. Thankfully, I managed to fit it in the freezer. So whilst it is in the freezer, I'm gonna start making my lattice top. Wrap this back up. So I'm going to pop a bit of corn flour down. Roll it in a ball. And then roll it flat. How big shall I do the lattices? 3/4 of an inch? Should we try that? Okay, so I've got some greaseproof paper here, and I'm going to start weaving it all together, which is the harder bit. And the other reason I'm doing a cherry pie is because on Celebrity Stand Up to Cancer yesterday, they made cherry pies. So that's why I thought I'd do an illusion out of a cherry pie. I mean, they made actual cherry pies, not illusions. I've never made a cherry pie. Here we go, I'm making an illusion cherry pie before I make a real cherry pie. I'm gonna get a little bit of water and just stick them together. I'm not doing it very tight in case I need to move them. Okay, now I'm going to roll this out, ready for our cake. Right, okay, so out of the freezer, I need to take it off the bottom and pop it somewhere. So I just need to ice the bottom of it now. And pop that in the freezer again for a little bit. So now it is nice and firm, I'm gonna ice it. I think it's looking okay so far. And then I'm gonna take off however much I want to. And this jagged edge that it's creating is actually very good. Looks like the crumbs of a pie. Should do illusion cakes more often. You don't have to be perfect with them. Now we can add our cherries on top. So first of all, I'm going to start with some leftover jam. Just going to spread that really thinly over the top, get the colour on there more than anything. Then pop the leftover cherries on. It's time to add on our lattice. Oh, not quite like that. Oh dear. Okay, just move it over a little bit. Some of it's broken. Oh no, that's not good. Which way was that? This way? That way? Must have been this way. Okay, and I can chop the edges off. And then you can sort of position the cherries. Looking a bit more like a cherry pie now. Okay, I want to add a little bit of depth to it, so I've got some ivory here. It's going to be my main colour. Mix with a touch of vodka. And mix together. I'm just going to test it on a little bit. Yeah, that looks okay, I think. I'm just going to add bits of colour to it, just to give it a bit more depth. And the vodka will evaporate, by the way, so don't worry, you're not going to get drunk on this. Tell you what I should have done before adding vodka. Using my blowtorch, like it's going to go in flames, isn't it? You know what, I'm actually really pleased with it. I think it looks so good. Gonna sprinkle a little bit of sugar on top, which I did want to caramelise, but I'm not sure it's safe to anymore. Now I've just put a shitload of vodka on there. I think I am gonna leave it like that. I think that looks so effective. Is our pie done. The last thing I'm going to do is add our ice cream, which is why I saved the dollop of ice cream. I am actually going to put some real ice cream on top just so it melts, and that'll create the melting effect. The dollop of ice cream, pop it on, and then this bit will melt and this bit won't. Well, it will if it's really hot because it's just buttercream. But that is the pie complete. So here's the pie I was going off, and this is the actual pie. I think they look really similar. And the ice cream started to melt. It just looks perfect. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for another baking video. Thanks for watching. Bye.